right, it's just that simple. You could eat off it if you can find a way to overcome gravity. But yeah, it really looks nice. Just another 3,000 square feet to go, but it'll happen. I'm not a great fan of this, cleaning it, but if I don't, it'll be in great error.
Good morning, everybody. We're gonna start moving some stuff around. It's warm today. They're talking 55 degrees Fahrenheit, one of our warmer days of the year already. And then snow coming. But here's the thing, we've got a lot of equipment in here and a lot of it needs to come out so we can start getting ready for spring planting because we're the 1st of March and that's when things start rolling. So let's fire up the 9370. We'll get that out of the building. I gotta go get some load of peas from a friend of ours because we need some more seed because we didn't produce enough last year. So we're gonna get a little bit from him. And then big buds, start firing them up. Let's go, guys. Let's get that door open.
Buds are in the shop, and that means more work. I mean, you gotta admit, these things are like 40 plus, closer to 50 years old. They need a little bit of TLC, but they still get the work done, and that's the beauty about it. This bud here needs bushings in the steering. Cylinders need to be replaced. We didn't get those when we did the pivot point. They came in. We'll get those done. And then there's a gasket on the side of the engine right here that has a cooler for the transmission and cools the engine oil from the radiator. Well, that's leaking radiator fluid on the side of the engine. Waiting for the gaskets to come in. I'll get that fixed. Few things inside the cab on this one. But this 5 1/4 over here, the Series 2, this one here needs a little bit more love. Not a lot, but a little bit. Basically, last year the steering sector cratered, and this is the steering sector, or you could call it hand pump. When you turn the steering wheel, it directs fluid to either cylinder, which allows you to turn whatever direction you want. Well, it cratered in that. This here had to be specially made because there's only one company apparently that makes these this big, because the cylinders on that thing are massive. So I got to convert this to match that because it's not bolt and play. But I'm also going to do something different too. The original steering sector on the Series 2 is attached to the frame of the tractor down here. So when the cab tilts back, it separates from the cab. I'm going to mount that directly to the cab, so then that way there's no slop in the steering, and yeah, more hydraulic hoses. So anyways, got to jack the cab up, make sure everything's clear out of here, and then I can start to figure out a bracket to make that hand pump bolted to here, convert the steering column to it because it has to be adjusted and welded on and fabricated. And then a lot of hydraulic hoses. And then there's an oil leak in the front of the tractor here, which should be easy to make or fix. So that's what's going on. All right, let's get busy. Let's jack the cab up.
While Arms is taking the steering sector, the hand pump they call it, of the 525, I'm gonna get something I almost forgot about doing. I'm glad we didn't forget. I was under there airing the tires up just to make sure everything was good, and I remembered, oh yeah, the steering cylinders on the Series 3, one of them is missing its spherical bushing, and I didn't get it in there. I was gonna do it the next time we brought the tractor in the shop. So I gotta put 2 of these in. The back are wore out, so let's climb underneath there. Let's see if I can install this with a bad arm. Right there. So we just dropped the pin in it temporarily. I just noticed this thing was wore out when we were working on this, the center spherical bushings. We replaced all those, but we just dropped the pin in it this time just to get it in the shop. And if I would have replaced that now, it would have wore all this knuckle out. It would have been a mess of stuff. So I'm glad I remembered. Oh boy, okay. I did not freeze this thing, I probably should have. Sacrifice a nut, but get the sheared bolt out. Interesting. That one's sheared off too. It must not have put a big enough bolt in there to hold those pins in place. I mean, it stayed in there obviously, but I think that pin's pretty fused in there, so let's see if we can chisel it out. And it was broke to begin with and wore out. Change of plans. I'm gonna put a bottle jack on here and a bar. It's gonna press on the top of this frame, which there's plenty of strength there. I'm gonna bottle jack it down because that's gonna be a lot easier than beating on it. A lot better. this needs to go. I didn't even was grabbing it. So we jacked it, put a lot of pressure on it, and it did pop down some, and then the jack flew off. It took some manipulating, but we got it straightened out and finally got it to go down. Now we're just getting some nylon washers we're going to put in between the cylinder clevis and the bracket on the frame, so that way it doesn't rub into it, because those spherical bushings are narrower than the frame mount, and I think that's just the way it always was, because I got the same one that was in there before. So it's nothing big, just something a little modified, but I'm glad we finally got that bushing in there. Man, that thing was a pain. It went in. Well, we finished up what we were doing on the Series 3, now we're on the Series 2, the 525, and there was a nasty oil leak that's just made a mess under here. And last year we tried to just tighten up a couple pumps, thinking that was just maybe a little loose, the gaskets were leaking, so as you can see, it's just a mess down here. Anyways, there's two pumps, they're on the side of the accessory on this engine, and it looked like it was leaking on this one, so I took it off, pulled the pump off, and as I was wiping it down to clean it up to put some more gasket sealer on it, I noticed the splines are wearing out. And the inside where it goes into the accessory is wearing out really bad. Like it's gonna probably slip here and spin. So we're in kind of a dilemma because we gotta take those pumps off, take them to a hydraulic place and see if they can source some parts. And then we gotta figure out how much of this accessory we gotta take off the K engine to get in there to replace the insides, because I don't know if it would make another season right now. The other option is what we did to the Series 1 is you put a hydraulic pump off your transmission. There's a PTO, power takeoff option on these transmissions. And it's a job because you gotta get all the power takeoff unit, the new pump you're gonna put on there, all the plumbing, there's a whole bunch of stuff. It's not an easy job. But that's more bulletproof and would stand the test of time. This runs great when it runs. So we're kind of just scratching our heads thinking, what do we do now? And leg arm's left for a little bit. So when he gets back, he'll make the call. But yeah, until then. So here's the old K engine. This isn't a KTA, it's just a KT. It was rated at 450 horsepower. It doesn't have an aftercooler on it. This is what was originally in that big bud before we put that one out of that Versatile, the KTA 19, which is now tuned up to 5.25 horsepower. And here is the unit I'm talking about. So this powers two pumps. There's a pump on this side and a pump on this side. The pump I took off right here was the one I noticed. These are the splines that were all chewed up. This one's not bad. Those ones are in better shape. In fact, I think we've had that part replaced a number of years back. Anyways, we're thinking about stealing that out of this one because it should be the same size, same block, relatively same engine. Steal that one, put it in the other one, and then hopefully save us having to buy a new part and hopefully get us through the season until we figure out what we're gonna do after that. So Dad's getting some tools and we're gonna take that off. Got leg arms back. He investigated. He about threw up when he saw it.
I did.
He passed out, fell down.
I did.
We woke him up.
I did.
And yeah. So, fun fact. So this came out of the old engine, that one we were just at. This is the one that we ran for years in that tractor. We're not gonna use it because, well, I don't know, we're not gonna use it, we might. But these splines might be slightly wore and we really don't wanna put new splines on those other pumps and then put an old one in there and then just have wear out again, because I think that's what happened in the first place. This engine again was out of that Versatile 1150, and just kind of judging from the old pumps that were on that, and we figured out, I think what happened was the splines were getting wore on the inside in here. They replaced the pumps, put new pumps on it, but never replaced that piece. And then when we put the engine in this tractor, we put new pumps on it, and that slop that was still in there that was wore out, wore the splines out of the new pumps, which we don't know about the second pump yet. I'm all over the map. You'll get it. Anyways, with that said, this shaft here, not the gear, the shaft inside here, this thing, found online for, starts at $1,300, goes up to probably $1,400, $1,500. So I'm gonna go sit down on the computer and see if I can source out more of those, see if we can find one a little cheaper. Or we put the old one in it from the other engine and just hope that it survives and makes it through the season and doesn't mess the new pump shafts up. Make sense? We also had the thought too, maybe we could steal one from this engine, because this bud doesn't have pumps on the accessory. But Welker Farms just told us that there is no gear in there. It just doesn't have that option, so not gonna work. So anyways, he's pulling the pumps off. We're gonna investigate further, and we'll check in when we figure that out. I feel really useless because I feel like I can do everything right now. Like I feel strong. All my muscles are good except for one, but then when I pull that one muscle, it lets me know it's not ready yet. So He's pulling the old pump out. I went online and I just found the part we need, at least one of them, for $1,000. So I ordered it, so $1,000 will be here in 2 weeks. So this tractor's gonna sit there for at least 2 weeks, so guys get used to it. It can stay there for 2 weeks. It's a nice tractor to look at. All right, check this out. That is the old one that we took off, that old engine that we're not using. And this one, there's no splines. No splines. It was, I think it was just spinning there. I don't know. I don't know how the thing was even working. So, yeah, that's, good we caught that. Ooh, it's no Minnesota snow, but we'll take it. What is that? 3 inches, 3.5. That's good. That's good. It's real wet, wet and heavy snow. Anything that comes on the ground that involves H2O, we're happy. So yeah, more of it. We need the moisture. We really could use it. Hopefully this melts down, goes in the ground, and then we get another round of this. What is it? Beginning of March, so we're a little over a month out from seeding if weather goes to what we usually think it does. It's coming, guys. It's coming real soon. All right, let's pick up where we left off in here. These girls, just so beautiful. So as you guys can see, there's a lot going on in the shop between these 2 tractors, but there's more that's gonna be going on. Yeah, those are nice leather AFS Connect seats from some Magnums. How did we get our hands on those, you're probably wondering? Well, let me take a seat, let's talk. So, these here are official AFS Connect Magnum seats. And we've got some friends, one in particular, Brian, at the Magnum factory in Racine, Wisconsin, and he got a hold of me and said, we've got a couple seats that we pulled out of some tractors. They're tractors that are kind of like a prototype / demo tractor that they use. They build, when the guys are designing the tractor, they build them up and slowly add stuff and take stuff off until they determine what they like. Well, these were in those tractors and they've got some time on it, but they're not terribly wore out. In fact, actually, they're in really good shape. So with that said, at the end of the day, when they're done, they've produced the tractor, they're out there now, those original tractors that were their testing units have to be taken in, rebuilt, and then they sent them out as demo units. Well, in the process, they put new cabs in them, they put new interiors, and they took these seats out and put new seats in them. So they didn't need these seats anymore. So he's like, hey, do you guys want some seats? And we said, absolutely. So yeah, we're pretty thrilled. But as you can see, there's stuff missing. It's like right here, this would be your Pro 1200 mount for your Pro 1200 monitor. No, these did not come with Pro 1200s on them. It'd be amazing if they did, but no, they didn't. So we're gonna have to redo some redesigning. This was all set up for all your controls for your Magnum. Obviously we won't need that, but that's okay because our big buds typically don't need a right armrest. We'll probably put something there, but it'll look good either way. But we still got our left armrest. We've got seat belts for the first time in the big buds, so we'll be able to ride safely. You know, we're crazy. And then AC, heater, and all sorts of adjustment. These seats are honestly some of the best seats I've ever sat in. I'm not being biased by any means, 100% some of the best seats I've ever sat in. So we are thrilled to put them in these tractors. So there's one's going in there, one's going in there, one's going in the little bud, and we do have a 4th one that's gonna go in hopefully something else someday. So cool, thanks guys.
It's a little chilly in the shop, and I didn't feel like wearing a nice sweatshirt, and this one kind of got the arm sleeve ripped off, and so ripped the other one off because matching, right? Enough said about the nice, beautiful sweatshirt that I'm wearing. It's fashionable, by the way. So what I got going on here is this is your steering column. You can see it goes up there. And the bottom of it, we welded a socket on it and had to modify the old original steering sector because the splines were all chewed out. Here's the new splines that need to go down inside that steering sector. And so I got to measure the distance to make sure I get this right, cut the end off, weld this on, and then we can steer this tractor and move it around. Now that the steering column's hooked up and ready to go, except for That made a major issue. We can't start the engine until we get that fixed. But this seat here, I'm taking it out. I can finish up all the wiring in there, and we got other plans too. I'm excited. Using the foot rail method. Holy crap, this thing's got weight to it.
Well, he didn't blow an ACL out.
Yeah, but I pulled something here.
So that chair, very adjustable. We were at a farm show and they had these in a magazine. I said, hey, you guys need seats? Check this one out. It's like got the most customized options you can possibly have in a seat. It's not a bad seat. It's just hours on it. It's not that comfortable. Those AFS Connect series seats and the Steigers and the Magnums and now the Patriot sprayers, those are nice seats. If you've ridden in one, you'll know those are nice seats. So we're pretty thrilled to be running them in these things. If they'll fit.
No.
We don't know if they'll go through the door yet. That's not a very big door. We'll find out soon. Question for you guys. Leave a comment on this, please. Anyone got any recommendations for some decent pinstriping, like outdoor? This was supposedly good stuff. And as you can see, we are having issues with the pinstriping, just flaking, breaking apart, coming off. I put that pinstriping on literally like 4 or 5 days after we painted this tractor. It sat in this warm shop, completely clean, no dust. And we carefully put the pinstriping on around the whole thing, thought there's no way this stuff is coming off. It's secure, it's solid, brand new paint, it should just stick. And well, it sticks, but it's disintegrating. It's just breaking apart and flaking off. And it's really frustrating because that's a lot of pinstriping, like hundreds of feet, figure all the fenders. And now when you want to put new stuff on, you got to clean up all this old sticky residue that's on there, and it's going to make a mess of the paint. So a little frustrating. But if you guys have any idea on better pinstriping than this stuff, please let me know.